So clearly, those trainers, whatever their training team is, Caitlin Clark has lost faith in the training team. Like, this is Kawhi. This is Kawhi Leonard. This is Kawhi Leonard's situation, where she's going for second opinions and not even telling the training team what's happening.
Caitlin Clark could be refusing to use Indiana Fever medical staff.
What do you do when the biggest draw in the WNBA keeps limping off the court, the fan base is holding its breath, and every headline reads like a medical chart? Tonight, we're unpacking why Caitlin Clark has stepped outside the Indiana Fever's in-house health bubble, what it tells us about the franchise, and how the fallout could change player care across the league. Buckle up, this is more than an injury update. It's a case study in trust, money, and the fine line between day-to-day and season-changing.
Another groin strain. This is the other side. As we talked about with the first one on the left side coming back after the quad, day-to-day is not accurate for even a minor groin strain. It was closer to 2 weeks before she returned, played well, and now the other side, the right side. It is unclear what imaging shows, but once again, the new groin strain is not day-to-day. She's already missing the All-Star game in the three-point contest. The question is, how much more? We won't know until we know about the imaging details, which were not revealed. But in any case, it's not day-to-day, closer to week.
Clark's durability was legendary at Iowa, 143 career starts without missing a game. But in her sophomore pro season, the calendar reads like a stop-start playlist. May 31, left groin strain, misses 2 games. June 16, aggravation in the same groin, sits out Chicago. July 12, right groin tweak in Boston. July 19, ruled out of All-Star festivities in Indy despite topping fan voting. July 22, scratched from the Fever Liberty clash in Brooklyn. Further imaging scheduled early week. That pattern, left again, then right, screams underlying biomechanical issue, not random bad luck. It also explains why Clark's camp wants outside eyes on the problem before the same soft tissue domino falls again.
So lads, this is not a great look for the Indiana Fever organization. If you've got Caitlin Clark, the star of the Indiana Fever, she's going and seeing whatever about not seeing the Indiana Fever's doctors. Like, it is what it is with that. It is what it is. Like, I think a lot of players and teams get second opinions. But if you haven't seen here, Stephanie White says there's no update on Caitlin Clark or potential timeline. She met with another doctor, but White says she hasn't spoken with the trainers. So she's literally... She has met with a different doctor. And she won't even give an update to the team.
Coach Stephanie White tried to sound calm. We're just going to take it one day at a time. She'll see some doctors early in the week. Notice the wording, some doctors, not our doctors. That tiny linguistic pivot landed like a megaphone. To players, some doctors is code for a second or third opinion, and it usually surfaces when the first opinion feels incomplete.
Well, I haven't seen C since the game last night, but I think she's progressing. I think that we're continuing to address everything that needs to be addressed. She's going to see some doctors and get some more tests run early in the week. I don't expect her to be available on Tuesday. So we're just going to continue to take it one day at a time and let her get her evaluations early this week. And then once we've done that, hopefully we'll have more of a clear line of what it looks like.
Insiders tell us Clark's agency, Excel Sports, arranged consultations with 2 sports medicine specialists who use ultrasonics, blood flow restriction training, and, yes, the much buzzed about hyperbaric oxygen chamber. Stem cell injections have been floated too. Therapies many WNBA training rooms simply aren't equipped to deliver on site. When your rehab plan suddenly requires hardware the franchise doesn't own, the only option is to go off campus.
Where she's going for second opinions and not even telling the training team what's happening. This is Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi-esque. This is absolutely Kawhi-esque. And by the way, this isn't like a Caitlin Clark has, she hates the Indiana Fever or anything. But she has clearly lost trust in the Fever. There is no trust there between Caitlin. 3 to 4 weeks to be sure she doesn't get injured again, but we're 100% sure she needs or 2 months. We're not doctors. We have no idea.
A groin strain means the adductor muscles tear where they anchor into the pubic bone. They're loaded every time you plant, pivot, or accelerate, exactly what Clark's downhill style demands, 80 possessions a night. The re-injury rate hovers around 30% in elite basketball because scar tissue forms unevenly. One burst of torque can reopen the micro tear. NBA protocols usually prescribe 3 phases. 1, inflammation control. 2, eccentric loading. 3, return to play deceleration drills. Skip phase 2 and you're gambling with phase 3. Several orthopedic consultants have said Clark's quick returns suggested phase 2 was compressed to keep her in uniform.
If we get into the middle of August and the Indiana Fever are 4 games below 500, she's not coming back. She's not coming back. If there's no chance of the Indiana Fever getting out of that 7-8 seed slot, like if it turns out that, let's say, the Aces go on a win streak and the Mystics are still solid and they're 4 games off the 8th seed, or the Valkyries are struggling and they're fighting for the 8th seed, and the New York Liberty start going on a run with Emma Messerman and the Lynx, they're not beating either of those teams. And Caitlin's just like, why am I going to come back and risk it?
Here's the blunt math. With Clark on the floor, the Fever are 8-5. Without her, they're 4-7. Every missed game depresses ticket revenue. Indy has sold out only twice in her absence, slashes local TV ratings, and cools merchandise velocity. Her number 22 jersey still outsells the next 4 WNBA jerseys combined. Yet, in the age of brand equity, a healthy superstar tomorrow is worth more than 2 half-speed superstars today. That's why the Fever's front office, reportedly under nudges from the league office, is prepared to greenlight the outside regimen even if it means another multi-game absence. Privately, ownership sees it as asset protection. You wouldn't drive a Ferrari with the check engine light on just because you sold tickets to the Joyride.
One of the big reasons, one of the big things of Kawhi Leonard was that while he was getting his second opinion, Tony Parker, who is like a big-time relevant player in the history of the Spurs organization, Tony Parker came out to the media and said that he was suffering from a worse injury than what Kawhi had, and he came back and played, basically saying that Kawhi Leonard should be playing. So I don't think that is something that's going to be happening. I think it's very, very different with that, because no Indiana Fever players have come out and told Caitlin Clark she should be playing.
Think of the NBA's evolution. When Kawhi Leonard clashed with Spurs' doctors in 2018, he sought private imaging, then forced a trade. Kevin Durant keeps his own performance lab in Los Angeles. LeBron's off-season maintenance budget reportedly tops $1.5 million. The subtext: stars who control their bodies often control the narrative and the next contract. Clark mirrors that shift for the WNBA. If the league's marquee attraction can insist on world-class care, expect other players to follow, pressuring teams to upgrade from athletic trainer plus part-time orthopedist to full performance departments with data scientists and soft tissue specialists on salary. For teammates, this isn't mutiny, it's precedent. Veteran forward Aaliyah Boston has battled ankle soreness most of the season. Seeing Clark take command of her rehab tells every Fever player they can, and maybe should, seek external expertise. That can erode the traditional trainer-coach-player hierarchy, but it can also democratize health decisions, shifting focus from short-term wins to long-term careers. Several sources say White addressed the squad in a closed-door meeting, emphasizing transparency. If you want another opinion, tell us. We'll facilitate, not fight. That stance may save chemistry before rumors do damage.
There's a good chance that the Indiana Fever lose in the first round of the playoffs, even if Caitlin Clark's healthy. I don't think the Indiana Fever are going to beat the Liberty, and the Indiana Fever are going to beat the Lynx. I think that they have a shot of beating the Phoenix Mercury. I think that's a close series, but they got to get to the 6th seed to do that. To get to the 6th seed, you got to be a little bit over 500. It's not going to be like last year.
Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has publicly championed better charter travel and maternity benefits. Medical modernization is next. The CBA allocates just $350 million annually per team for performance staffing, roughly what an NBA contender spends on cryotherapy alone. Clark's situation exposes the gap. League executives are already exploring a shared center of excellence where high-acuity athletes could rehab during the season, similar to MLB's ESME facility in Birmingham. If that pilot is greenlit, expect the 2026 CBA talks to feature a player-directed medical allowance, letting stars bill outside care back to their franchise without cap penalties. Scroll Fever Twitter after any scratch, and you'll see panic, frustration, and reluctant patience. Millennials plan road trips around Clark's schedule. Gen Alpha kids wear her jersey to summer camp. They'd rather wait 3 weeks for 100% Caitlyn than watch a 70% version limp through 20 minutes. Still, every DNP triggers ticket exchange headaches and refund requests. The franchise's communications team has shifted tone. More medical detail, fewer tightness euphemisms. Transparency buys goodwill. Vagueness breeds conspiracy theories. That lesson matters because the WNBA lives on narrative energy as much as box scores.
Because I can see sunshine in the air, the Brooklyn Bridge. Oh my goodness, Sabrina raining threes, Caitlyn raining threes, Breanna Stewart getting mega rebounds. It's a match made in heaven, bro. And I'm here to tell you, we don't know if that's the future, but we just got to deal with what we got, and that is this whole Indiana Fever situation. Now, I'm not trying to sit up here and say that I'm not an Indiana Fever fan, because I am. You know, I'm rocking out with whatever Caitlyn's rocking out with. So that's what Caitlyn at. That's what I will be supporting. But for as how they operating, how they're handling and managing Caitlyn Clark, I ain't feeling it, man. Down there, coaches kind of pulling her, not letting her celebrate. Down to her going off on Stephanie White in a tunnel, down to players sneak dissing in interviews. It's looking real smoky.
Best case timeline? After advanced imaging and an 8 to 10 day regenerative therapy block, Clark begins controlled court work, focusing on adductor stability and hip core integration. The team circles August, a home date against Las Vegas, as the soft target for return, with a minute cap under 25 and mandatory off-day lifts supervised by her external therapists. If setbacks persist, the Fever could consider an injury management designation, shelving her until September for playoffs. That would sting short-term standings, but salvage long-term health. Behind the scenes, Indiana's front office is compiling a Summer of Betterment plan. Add a second performance physio, invest in force plate technology, and crucially, reestablish trust with player families and agents before free agency reputations calcify. So, is Caitlyn Clark ditching team doctors, or is she simply exercising the modern athlete's right to seek best-in-class care? Either way, the message is unmistakable. The WNBA's medical bar just got raised, and every franchise will be measured against it. For the Fever, this is their inflection point. Upgrade infrastructure or risk being remembered as the team that couldn't keep lightning in a bottle. For fans, patience today could translate into highlight reel payoffs tomorrow. And for Clark herself, every cautious step away from Bankers Life Fieldhouse might be the stride that extends her prime deep into the 2030s. If you've got thoughts on player autonomy, drop them below, smash that subscribe button, and keep it locked here as we track every milestone on Clark's road back to full throttle.